All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin, and what a win, what a victory. I mean, off the back of that shambolic performance against West Brom, we created that particular performance which was needed. Yes, Porto looked very dangerous, but we played well. We persevered when we needed to persevere, and we got that epic 2-0 victory, away victory. I know it's going to be a neutral ground. We're going to end up coming back to the same ground again, but for us, this is an away victory. But before we get into all of that, Taron will be joining very soon. He's just running a bit late. We've got Nishal here. We've got Ishan, a newbie, a debutant here. So first of all, Nishal, how you doing, my man?
I'm very well, thanks. Good to be back on and looking forward to reviewing this because, of course, we had a very questionable review, let's say, last time with West Brom. We needed a reaction, we needed a response, and it's a perfect win tonight, so looking forward to getting into it.
Brilliant. And Ishan, my man, first time in the channel, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. First of all, thank you for having me, and I've been following both of you for quite some time now, so it's like just an honor to be here with you two and be talking about this massive win.
Brilliant. Thank you to all the people that's joined so far and all the people that will join throughout the stream and watch it down the track. Thank you, honestly, for the support. What an epic victory, Yusuf. Thanks for commenting. Sanchez up the Chels. Thank you. Tyrone is here as well. Joey is here. We've got Taron in the stream, so let's get Taron in. Taron, my man, has things. You must be excited about that win.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for being late, guys. Yeah, I'm obviously really excited. It was a really good reaction after, a really poor result at the weekend. Yeah, I'm extremely happy with that result. There's so much to talk about. The second goal really topped off. Ben Chilwell rounding the keeper. Just absolute limbs, absolute scenes. If there were fans at the stadium, God knows what would be happening. But yeah, I'm really excited, Miz, and yeah, I'm excited to get into this review.
Brilliant. Wow, I had no idea. Miz, just found out Tony Mount follows you on Twitter. Congrats. I had no idea about this. He must have just recently followed me. I'm not really sure. But that's another story. Let's get back into this, guys. Honestly, let's start off with some opening statements before we get into the lineup side of things and getting into the whole match review and whatnot. I'll start first because I've got too much pent-up energy that I just need to explode and just let it out. Look, I'm not going to lie, guys. I was definitely nervous moving into this match. You guys know, Nishai, you did the preview with me with Aaron, and we had a fantastic preview. By the way, Aaron got the lineup spot on for FC Porto, so kudos to that. But yeah, honestly, I was nervous moving into the game, and the first sort of 25 minutes, they were all over us like a rash, and I was honestly worried that, oh my God, this doesn't look good. But we persevered. That's exactly what I wanted to see from Thomas Tuchel's side. This is why I love this manager so much. We had that blip of major blip. Let's be honest. That's a loss. That kind of loss probably didn't need to happen, but nonetheless, it happened. He came in. He rectified it. We persevered. The boys persevered, and surely enough, Mason Mount. What a goal! Oh my God! From the moment that pass happened from Jorginho, kudos to Jorginho as well. Shout out to Jorginho for that pass. We'll talk about player performances as well. But Mason Mount, man of the match performance for me, the way he took that half turn and destroyed whoever that Porto defender was, I can't remember, I'm sure you boys know, and then turned him inside out, and that finish, that fizzing finish across the keeper, wow. And that set the stage. I think from after that goal, we calmed down. We knew exactly how to negate Porto. Yes, they were coming at us hard again in the second half, but I knew if we just keep persevering, that second goal is going to come. And surely enough, Mr. Opportunistic, Chilwell, just sharking in there. As soon as a mistake happened, he just went in there and scored that second goal. And boy, oh boy, what a result for us. I'll go to the debutant, Ishan. What's your initial thoughts on that particular match?
Yeah, like you were saying, it was so important for us to continue persevering for the first 30 minutes. I feel the first 10 minutes were okay. We were still on top of things, but minute 10 to minute 30 was all Porto. And if we would have gone down in that time after what happened against West Brom, like you could easily see us like completely dropping our confidence and just going into a rut a bit. But so it was so important to persevere and get that goal. And as you said, we calmed down after that. So against West Brom, when we conceded the first goal, we kind of crumbled. Versus today, when we scored that goal, we calmed down, we took control of the game, and that second half was much better. That's what we want to see in the big games. Just capped off with a nice goal from Ben Chilwell. I think without that goal, going 1-0 in, we would have still been a little, skeptical of the result. But that Ben Chilwell goal was all we needed.
Nah, absolutely right. That Ben Chilwell goal was the cherry on top that we needed. Nishal, my man, what's your initial thoughts?
Another fantastic win, and we needed that reaction. I think that was the most important thing, not just getting the advantage in the Champions League tie, but really showing that it was just a blip and it was an odd result in 15-16. We put in a really good performance today. It wasn't perfect. I think the first half there were a lot of improvements to be made. Porto were involved in the game. They should have scored, admittedly, at some point throughout the game, and we looked shaky, but we did well to get a goal either side of half-time. Mason mounted brilliantly, lovely turn, lovely pass from Jorginho to open the score. And Chilwell as well, pouncing on that mistake. But above all, the defensive performance was brilliant for me, because focusing on conceding 5 goals against West Brom to keeping our 3rd consecutive clean sheet in the Champions League against La Liga leaders, the Portuguese champions, that deserves real credit. Not to mention without Thiago Silva, who I felt should have been starting, but clearly didn't matter too much. Cesar Azpilicueta, fantastic captain's performance. But Reece James, Majestic, and my man of a match at wing-back. He was superb, bullying the Porto attack all game long, really putting in a solid performance and proving that he has a stake in this competition, in this team. It's a performance I'm really pleased with, one I'm really happy with, but the job is not done. 6 days later, we're back here, back in Sevilla. We've got a big game and a big second leg coming up. But of course, the focus will go on to Crystal Palace, and we've got this momentum back. The question is, how long can we keep this in the final straight of the season?
Absolutely. So well said, Michelle. Shout out to Thompson Jones, Saeed, Petit, Yusuf, Deep State, Robert, Kafka's View. Thank you so much. You honestly praise us all the time, and I appreciate that so much, Kafka's. Please, guys, go out there and follow Kafka's View right now. He's running an absolutely brilliant channel as well, so go out and do that. And also, so far, 34 people on. Smash that like button. And please check out the football jersey, Super Football jerseys discount on today. There's a massive 50% discount. And use my code to get further 10%. Go out there and get yourself a Mason Mount jersey. Go out there and get yourself a Reece James jersey, as Nishal has been saying. Get it all. Get all the players' jersey, back them, and do yourself a favor with that. Taran, my man, what's your initial thoughts about the particular match?
Yeah, the game, when in really high pressure games and big stake games in the Champions League, you have to withstand some parts of the game where you're going to be under pressure. The first 30 minutes were absolute torture for Chelsea fans. Seeing Porto constantly coming at us, pressuring Edouard Mendy, Christensen, Rudiger and Aspi looked really a bit sleepy in the first 30 minutes, to say. But as soon as we got out, as soon as we started moving the ball around, one amazingly angled pass from Jorginho into Mason Mount, I had no doubt he was going to score that. And from then onwards, I feel like we did control the game quite well. There was a few instances in the game where Porto did come back into it. Obviously, when the left-back had the chance and Marega had the chance. But overall, the game, I thought we controlled it really well for such a high-pressure game. A lot of the experienced players came in later on to try and, short it down, and it really worked. The substitutions were spot on by Tuchel today. We saw against West Brom, maybe the substitutions were a bit criticised by Chelsea fans, but today, I felt like everything was spot on. Giroud came on, alleviated the pressure. Silva came on and added a bit of calmness to the play. And overall, just a great performance by young players, experienced players, the manager. So, and yeah, we could be going to UCL semi-finals, boys. Come on, what's not to love about this? It's a great day.
Yeah.
I'm gassed, man. I'm gassed. It's great. I'm always gassed when we went. And what a bounce back after that game against West Brom. We needed it so badly. If we went out today, looked shy, lost 1-0, drew 0-0, it would not have looked good on us at all. So amazing result. And hopefully we can, keep the same defense solidity and attack Porto and finish these guys off.
Nah, absolutely. You got me gassed, Taran, man. You got me absolutely gassed on what you were saying. We could be looking at a semi-final berth here. More people are joining us here. Andrew Liu, thanks for joining. Pri, thanks for joining as well. Charlie Robinson is here. And our man, the JT of the group, is here in the house. Jonathan Manhandle is here. Look, guys, he is going to be away for maybe about a month and a bit. He's moving places, so he's just setting up nicely. And hopefully, if we do make it to the Champions League final, maybe he will be back. So can't wait for that. Hopefully, we do get that, guys. Let's get straight into the lineup things. Firstly, I just want to quickly have a look. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Chelsea admin page. By the way, the admin had a bit of another shocker earlier today with the lineup not coming up on time. As we can see, Mason Mount, that picture just before we scored. Obviously, that's the full-time picture. Here's the team. Look, I love pictures like this just before the match. It's brilliant. And I just want to talk about the whole. There's man of the match. There was last time we had a bit of a nice, funny sort of situation with the man of the match. This time, Nishal, I did select the right person. Mason Mount for me is the man of the match, as you guys can all see. Guys, let us know who you think your man of the match is at the moment. Mason Mount's leading the race. Let's talk about the lineup straight up. Let's go to you, Ishan, my man, first up. What do you think about the lineup when you looked at it? Your just initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty standard lineup. I didn't expect Thiago Silva to start, but I did expect Oli Giroud to start, and I was kind of a little surprised to see that he wasn't starting, but he ended up coming on and didn't have too much of an impact in the game. But other than that, like for the lineup, I wasn't too surprised. Conte wasn't 100% fit, so Jorginho and Kovacic were definitely going to start, and Chilwell didn't play against West Brom, and after Alonso's performance, I think it was pretty obvious that he was going to come in. Reece James again was fantastic tonight, so yeah, he had to start. And bring back the back three that kept so many clean sheets together and kept another one again tonight. So yeah, keep that
well said.
Going.
Nah, absolutely, man. Look, we are going to talk about that back three. I've been a massive advocate of Thiago Silva, and so has Nishal, and so have most of the boys. But I think we need to really now start talking about the fact that whether Andres Christensen and Rudiger and Azpilicueta, because of the chemistry they've had in recent times, whether that's worth just hanging on to as opposed to just bringing in someone like Thiago Silva, who's absolutely epic. But we will talk about that. There's a lot to talk about in that particular regards. I'll just quickly say about my thoughts on the lineup. Obviously, I wasn't at all unhappy with the back three. I completely understand why Tuchel went with that. As Nishal said, we both in the preview did want Thiago Silva back, knowing that in the Crystal Palace match, Thiago Silva was going to miss out on that, so Christensen can come back. But, completely understand why Tuchel went with that, so happy with that. James is probably one where both Nishal and I, we thought Calamat and Adoy would probably get an opportunity to be a bit more attacking. But boy, oh boy, James probably a good shout of man of the match as well in this particular match. So once again, Thomas Tuchel, as I said, I tweeted it out. I said, I completely trust Thomas Tuchel with whatever he does. And Nishal's the biggest advocate in this particular channel, saying he doesn't care what the lineup is. At the end of the day, we trust what Tuchel does, and it is we completely believe in it. So obviously, James had a very good match. Jorginho and Kovacic in the lineup, understandable. I didn't expect Kante to start. Obviously, we talk about player performances. Chilwell, I fully expected him to come back off the back of that. Probably not so great performance from Alonso. And front three, I was okay with, except for Timo Werner. I really thought Hakim Ziyech probably deserved a particular position, knowing that he's in the upward trajectory. And as I said, we will talk about the player performance, and I don't really think Timo Werner had the greatest game. I'm sorry, Taryn. I'm sorry to some of the live chat as well. They're probably going to have a go at me because I always keep bringing Timo Werner into the mix of things. But he got substituted out along with Havertz. So it is what it is. I'm not making anything up here. I'm simply stating some factual events. Nishal, from your perspective, when you saw the lineup, what do you think?
I mean, you said it perfectly for me. I don't judge the lineup. I have full trust in Tuchel. And while I may have opinions or preferences for who I would have started, I'm not the manager, and I'm going to trust whatever lineup was put out. The only contention I did have was Thiago Silva's absence, because he's not playing on Saturday, and most likely we're going to see the same back three on Saturday against Crystal Palace, and most likely in the second leg next Tuesday, because if they did the job today, why would you keep him going? So maybe there are fewer concerns about the same three centre-backs playing 3 games in 6 days, but look, you have a trust. They've been doing this a whole season. They've been doing this for almost a year now due to the pandemic. So it shouldn't be something we should doubt too much. The lineup, there's not much I should say on that. But more on the Thiago Silva situation, it's a really interesting point because my main question about Thiago Silva is because we know he's going to extend his contract. It's pretty much given at this rate. but we have to start planning for the future after Thiago Silva, because the gamble we took in signing him was knowing that at the absolute maximum, we would get 2 years out of him. And then we'd start again and trying to find a new leader, a new defender. So could this be the back three going forward? I'm not sure. Look, Christensen, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, all in fantastic form right now. They've had great seasons under Tuchel, and they've really shown why they can play together and produce such a solid back three. But we've seen inconsistencies in Christensen. We've seen inconsistencies in Rudiger. And while I'm not doubting them, given what we've seen recently, you do have to be honest and ask, can they do this over a prolonged period of time? Because we're looking at a period right now, sure, they're doing brilliantly. But if Thiago Silva somehow doesn't decide to renew his contract and we're stuck with this back three next season, can we confidently say that we can challenge for the title, that we can challenge for silverware? Right now we can, due to the circumstances, due to the form, due to arguably the new manager bounce we've had with Thomas Tuchel. But if we're going long term, we need to invest in a proper centre back and someone who's really going to fill that void from Thiago Silva, fill that 4-year-old void from John Terry, who I've said we've always been missing, with the exception of Thiago Silva. So while right now we're focusing on the game, we're happy with the result, and we can be pleased with what we've seen, in the long-term picture, we do need to be looking at the defence. And Tuchel needs to be asking himself, okay, am I going to bring Tomori back into the fold? Am I going to trust Christensen and Rudiger? Is Azpilicueta going to stay as a centre-back if we play to a back four or a back three? So there are decisions to be made in the long term, and especially on who can we trust as a long-term option for Chelsea in defence, because we need to focus on getting the best possible defence out of all the best players that we have, all that are on the market. And that's something we need to address in the coming months, really.
No, 100% agreed, man. Kafkas, who I think we will rotate the CVs. Thiago won't play too many games, but they will pick and choose. 100% agree with that. We've got Deep State here. Timo losing the ball while dribbling was just shocking. Yeah, I remember that image. I don't want to get into that before I get slaughtered in this live chat. And also, there was a nice comment here from Manhandle. Werner needs to be benched. He looks lost. We aren't playing to his strength, 100%. And we will talk more about this. Taryn, what were your thoughts on the lineup, my man?
Yeah, on the Christensen point and the Charlemagne, it's a great point that, Silva is probably a 2-year kind of stopgap, kind of replacing that leadership we've had since Terry left. But Christensen, I wanted him to come in today because I felt that he's been so good since Silva's been out. The last 10, 11 games, he hasn't put a foot wrong. So basing on form-wise, I didn't think he could have been dropped in this game against Porto. Obviously, Silva has the leadership. He has the ability to command the back line. He's been in the high stage before. Last season, he was playing for PSG in the final. But Silva's game against West Brom was not convincing for me, even though he was thrown under the bus by Jorginho and Kova. I still don't think Silva should have started. Christensen, very, very good choice for me by Tuchel. If we needed Silva, he could have come on, and he did in the end. On the wing-backs kind of side of things, Chilwell understood him coming on to kind of deal with the pace of Tecatito or Jesus Corona. Did very well, I felt like. And at the end, he capitalised on a mistake by Corona to score a great goal. Obviously, Reece James in there for the physicality to kind of deal with the diagonal switch balls with his chest, which is literally like the way the ball sticks to his chest. Can I just say, Reece James has a magical touch. And the pivot as well. We didn't really have much of a choice. I understood that Kovacic and Jorginho, it was whether they could bounce back after that kind of disappointing game against West Brom. And they did. They really performed at the highest level like they have so far in the Tuchel. The other back to Rudiger, he had to be in there. His game against Atletico is amazing. His recent ball has been amazing, and he performed today again.
We are going to do some Rudiger propaganda today. We are really going to do some Rudiger propaganda.
We need Rudiger to be picked up by this fan base because Rudiger is so underrated at times. Even though he's had a bad few seasons, he's been so good.
Bust up Rudiger.
Oh, he hasn't put a foot wrong. I could go all day, but I'm just going to keep it to like the lineup kind of a review now. But yeah, I think that's been amazing. Timo Werner obviously didn't play the best. And the lineup was really good, Miz. But overall, I think the main shock was Christensen, I say, for some fans. But yeah, he came and did a great job. And that's kind of my lineup kind of review.
Nah, absolutely, man. Pre-Anchor Ray, thank you so much for the super chat. We are winning the Champions League. Just run the propaganda. We need it. 100% we're going to run the propaganda. We are literally very close to getting to the semi-finals. Hopefully, nothing crazy happens in the second leg. It is going to be in the same ground. I feel like it feels like more of a Porto home ground because they're not that far away from Sevilla. So, we've done a fantastic job and we will talk about the whole match now. Insane Thoughts, thank you for joining. What a game, guys. A complete shocker. Honestly, that was fantastic. Nisha, I'll start with you. With getting in deep into this particular match. for me, that first half, the first 25 minutes, I felt like there was still a little bit of residual value left from the West Bromwich loss. I felt like some of the players still carried that a little bit. But as soon as we persevered, we saw out their attack. We started to play a little bit better. Our build-up wasn't that good. We kept on going long. So that sort of nullified Werner and Kai Havertz's game a little bit. But, in midfield as well, we looked a bit non-existent in the first 25 minutes or so. But slowly we got into the game, and that killer pass from Jorginho came in, just, putting it straight through in between all the midfielders and into the defenders. And then obviously that gorgeous turn from Mason Mount, completely split open everything, and that finish. How did you see that first half from your perspective?
The first half an hour wasn't good enough, and that's simple as that. Because if we perform like that against the top teams, we will be punished and they will score. We were lucky that Porto didn't, because they started brilliantly and they were really good in that opening half hour. Unlucky not to score, having the best chances and really controlling the game. Like I said, the midfield was non-existent for Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic, and it was very peculiar to see them, of all players, have to settle into the game and find their feet. But once we hit our stride, we got the goal, we were a different team. Jorginho, beautiful pass, so that's what he can do when he's given the time and space. Mason Mount, beautiful turn, lovely finish. And once we had that goal, we had that confidence, we had that swagger about us, which we needed to really challenge and seize control of the game. It was a big contrast, though, between that opening half hour and that last 15 minutes of the first half. And I think it's definitely showing two different sides of the game, because on another day, Porto going 1 or 2-0 up. If we're looking at Chelsea out of form, or Porto having Sergio Oliveira, for example, they're scoring. And deservedly so, because I was really impressed with how they started. So we need to be cautious and apprehensive, not just in the long term and when we have that in other games, but especially for the second leg, because it will be the same stadium, the same mentality. Porto will need to go for it more. And if they start like that again, they can harm us. And if we don't start as well as we could have, like we should have today, we will be punished. But, overall, the first half was good. We came in with a lead. That's what we needed. We had that 1-goal advantage, and we had control of the game from that final 15 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. We've got insane thoughts. Agreeing with you, Nishal, in what you've said. Completely agreed with Nishal. Have horrified first half quarter. Honestly, that first half that first 25 minutes, as I said, was quite scary. Ishan, I'll go to you now. Let's just focus on what just Nishal said. That initial portion where they looked so dangerous. Once they do get their key players back, Mendy, Taremi, and Sergio Oliveira, they could look very dangerous in that second leg. For me, yes, 2-0, fantastic victory, but we cannot have the same sort of start the way we did, because, we can't always just hope that we're just going to come out of it better. What do you think about that build-up? Because I felt like our build-up wasn't on top, our midfield was a bit shaky, and we kept on going long. So when you saw that, what was your feeling in that first half?
Yeah, whenever Chelsea come up against a high press, it goes one of two ways, especially when Jorginho's playing. Either we're really good at moving the ball quickly and we can get out of the press and transition really quick from midfield to attack, or we just lose the ball in midfield, we get overrun, give the ball away easily, and we have to resort to the long ball. And that's, I think, what happened today. We were being overrun. We weren't winning the second balls in the beginning. And that's also the thing about Jorginho. Yes, he's a fantastic passer of the ball, but when he's not doing that, he's getting overrun. He's not getting stuck in all the time.
He was getting overrun. The first 25 minutes, he was getting overrun.
And yes, he improved in the second half, but we need that. That's why the back three works for Jorginho, is because he does have that protection. But if he fails to do the one thing that he is good at, then we really have to question him being on the pitch. But no, he definitely improved in the second half. But that first 30 minutes was definitely worrying, and you could see the same thing happening that was happening against West Brom.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I just hope that, Thomas Tuchel looks at that first 30 minutes. Yes, fantastic victory. We played really well. Second half, they were attacking, but I felt like our defense was a little bit more in control, even though they attacked. It felt like we were nullifying them and not really giving them, clear-cut opportunities. But that first half, that first 30 minutes or so was scary. Taryn, from your point of view, do you think Tuchel will be addressing that particular matter? I mean, kudos to Jorginho and Kovacic to come in, make that comeback into the game after being sort of run down in the first sort of 25 minutes, 30 minutes, especially Jorginho. But do you feel like Tuchel will address that and make sure that don't have that? Because as Nishal said, second leg could go all pear-shaped if that happens again.
Yeah, 100%. With Sergio Oliveira on the pitch, you can't be, being a passenger in the middle of the pitch. You have to be fully match sharp, fully intense. You can't be slacking in your passing. And he will punish us if we do play like that. So Tuchel is the top manager. He's going to go to these two players after the game during the week and say, when you're up against Oliveira, he's very different to Marco Grujic. He's going to be onto you. He's going to be chasing you the whole game. You need to be progressing the ball quickly and doing them turns that Jorginho has been doing, the little Cruyff turns we've seen sometimes. He needs to be doing that. Yeah. But in this game, I felt like I'll just kind of talk about the game. At the start of the game, I felt like we were trying to absorb the pressure from Porto, trying to make them press us high and then releasing Werner and Havertz from behind. And when that wasn't working, when we were losing the ball, we kind of just seemed to just launch along, not trying to look for anyone, just trying to hit it out pitch and trying to release the pressure. As soon as that stopped, I felt like after the 30th minute, it was really calm. They tried to come onto us. Then we played to Werner and Havertz and played from there. But yeah, the diagonal balls today in the first half were not really working as they should have. I feel like Reece James, that was Hudson-Odoi. He's going to burst onto the ball, drive. I know Reece James is amazing defensively today. Hudson-Odoi would have received the ball on the turn and dried at the defence and would have created much more chances. But again, the first half, we lacked a bit of control. But from then onwards, we were superb. And Jorginho and Kova are definitely going to improve in the second leg. If they do start, N'Golo Kante, I feel like will start just like the Atletico game. We 1-0 up, just to kind of be that screen in front of the defence.
It's set up nicely for Kante, isn't it, Taryn? It's set up nicely for Kante.
Kante, it's perfect, Miz. Him and Kovacic, I feel like will start in that game. The same against Atletico, as I just mentioned. But yeah, it was a bit, a bit passenger, a bit, not a lot of confidence at the start of the game. From then onwards, Miz, it was great. And yeah, we played really well in the end.
Nah, absolutely. Shout out to nearly 80 people live right now. Honestly, live chat. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys are always rocking and providing such amazing comments throughout. Please continue to do that. And look at the description for the super jersey shirts discount offer that's available right now. So if you're looking for a replica shirt, you saw my man Jonathan put on the Mason Mount jersey not that long ago. The replica looks just as real. And you get yourself 50% discount. Use the 10% discount for my code and get yourself a jersey today. It's in the description right now. So shout out for that. Let's now go to Ishan first of all. Let's talk a little bit about the second half. Obviously, the boys would have been very, very excited about that 1-0 lead. They're going all happy. And I felt like the guys after that 1-0, they all calmed down. It was like, the normal services has resumed again and everyone sort of forgot about the West Brom situation. Everyone felt a bit more calm. They come out second half and Porto pressed us and they really got at us really tough. But we persevered. We did not crumble at all. We persevered, and finally we get that opportunistic goal from Chilwell to make it 2-0. How do you think we played in that second half, Ishan?
Yeah, I think the start of the second half, like you said, it was important to calm down after that first half and kind of get back to the basics. The start of the second half wasn't pretty for either team. I don't think the game was really going anywhere until the substitutions were made, and that really made an impact with Werner coming off and Havertz coming off. Werner especially, I think he's a little one-dimensional in this state of confidence that he's in, where the only use we have of him is his pace and his runs, which still are very dangerous. But with the long balls we were playing, we just weren't finding those runs today. Even though Porto did have a high line, we weren't finding his runs, and so getting him off was definitely the right call. And Pulisic is more, he'll come to the ball, he's more direct, he'll take charge, I guess. So that was a very good sub, and even with the subs of Kante, I thought Kante was really good coming on, just the energy.
The subs were good.
Yeah, all of them were so good. Kante bringing in that energy. Once he came on, I kind of knew that we probably aren't going to concede. Havertz didn't have. He did have that one chance, even though it was offside. Thank God it was offside, because you can just imagine kind of
I was going off. I was like, how could we not score that? How did we not score that? And then everyone started replying to me, Miz, I was offside. I was all like, okay, I deleted that tweet.
Yeah, you switched with it. That's good. But yeah, thank God that was offside. Just for their confidence. You don't need more hate on them. I'm sure there's going to be people that will criticize their performance already. Just quickly on Werner, we were talking about how he is low on confidence, and it kind of bewilders me to see him still starting every game and getting the minutes that he does, because I don't think he's that deserving of the minutes right now. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi, we haven't seen him in the last 2 games. Pulisic, even though Pulisic pulled a hamstring last game, so he probably wasn't like 100% fit to start this game. But I would like to see both of them more in that role, even like Hakim Ziyech. So yeah, I just think Werner has to get a little more on the training ground, earn his minutes from training like most of the other players do. I just feel we're so focused on getting him back into confidence that we're just playing him constantly. And I think there's a difference between confidence and form, where if a player is low on form, you can continue to play him until he gets the goal, which will get his form going. But with confidence, it's a little more complicated. So yeah, those are my thoughts, I guess, on Werner.
No, absolutely. Look, we are definitely going to talk about Timo Werner. We're going to talk about Havertz. And I want to be very, very critical about Timo Werner. I don't want to go out there and just bash him. I do understand why Thomas Tuchel uses him for certain situations and certain aspects of his skill set. And we will talk about that 100%. Nishal, let's not wait around too much longer. Let's talk about Mason Mount's goal, Nishal. We need to replay this, Nishal. We need a commentary here, Nishal. While I do this, I need you to do this commentary here. It needs to happen, Nishal. So basically, I think the scenario was something like this. Obviously, I can't have all the Porto players around here. It was something like this. Jorginho puts on, I think Reece was more higher up. So let me just create this a bit better. Jorginho obviously puts this particular pass near Mason Mount here, who does the half turn and then fizzes a shot right there and puts that goal in. Nishal, what were your thoughts when that goal went in, my man?
What a goal. What a brilliant goal. And it's something Jorginho is capable of. We don't see him do it often, as the defensive midfielder, really sitting back and protecting the defence. But that's his best assist since Watford and Tammy Abraham in 2019. Wonderful pass, threaded it through, perfect weight. And you see that's what happens. When he has the time, he has the space. He was lucky that he found a moment where no one was really pressuring him. He had all the space and time in the world, straight into Mason Mount's feet, and just delicate turn. You can see on the edge of a box on the right-hand side, threaded through to Mason Mount, turns the defender wonderfully, left him one-on-one, and straight across the goal. A wonderful finish. And that's what they both do brilliantly. Jorginho can play that killer pass without hesitance, without any pressure, and in such a high pressure situation, out of nothing, creating a chance like that. And Mount, we've seen that turn very often. We've seen it from Mason Mount himself. We've seen it from Jorginho even. It's such a delicate skill movement. When it is executed well, it looks stunning. And in that case, a wonderful finish, brilliant goal. And I tweeted, actually, I said, how can any Chelsea fans not like Mason Mount? I don't understand it. I don't understand what agenda there is against Mason Mount, because there's a criticism for his numbers. Yes, they're not amazing, but when you see the goals
he's been banging goals for Tuchel. He's been banging goals for Tuchel.
Absolutely. And you sure criticise his stats, because some will say, oh, don't read into the stats, but then we'll do exactly that and say, well, Mason Mount's barely scored any goals. But look, he's got the winner against Liverpool. He's got the first goal against Porto. He's got so many goals, time after time after time, where he scores that decisive goal. And I don't understand where the criticism comes from. Well, I think the only reason is because he plays so well. He's favoured by so many managers. But we're sat here praising Mason Mount every other week, and you get accused of bias, of English bias. I get accused of being employed by the FA, employed by Chelsea. But it doesn't take a Chelsea employee or an FA journalist.
I wish I was employed by Chelsea.
One day. But it doesn't take a Chelsea journalist or an FA employee to recognise that Mason Mount is a good footballer, and that doesn't do him justice, because at 22 years old, he's scoring these crucial goals, playing with such confidence, such swagger around his game, that he's a key player for Chelsea, whether it's Frank Lampard, Thomas Tuchel, Gareth Southgate. He's that player we need, and I don't understand what you can criticise. Look, he's not the perfect player. I'm not hailing him as the next Messi or the generational wonder kid, but for a player this young to be in his second full season as a Chelsea, second season. It looks like he's been here since 2015. He's only been here since 2019 in the first team. To be able to see that player and realise we've got him, and he's not even at his best yet. Nowhere near. Wait till 25, 26. That's where we see Mason Mount at his best. But another stunning goal, brilliant performance, and just the very best of Mason Mount, as per usual.
Absolutely. Taryn, my boy. I mean, when that goal happened, Taryn, I was off my seat. I was dancing, and I could not be any more happier for both Mason Mount and Jorginho. Let's be honest, two polarizing figures in the Chelsea fan base. Jorginho, there's a lot of people that don't support the way he plays or his characteristics and his skill set. And same with Mason Mount as well. A lot of people, I think more people appreciate Mason Mount now. There's probably just a minority that don't appreciate him. Probably wants a lot more from him. But Jorginho is one that a lot of people don't want him. But that pass, as Nishal said, that was brilliant. It was pinpoint perfect to defeat the defender. And obviously Mason Mount does well to, in that half turn, completely destroys the defender. But Taryn, from your perspective, talk to me about both Mason Mount and Jorginho as well. Obviously, we want to make this a lot about Mason Mount because of that brilliant performance from him.
I think the moment that kind of sums up Mason Mount is when Mount was nowhere near it. He just tried to win a foul. He apparently kicked him in the head. He fell down to his knees and started crying or something. It was nowhere near a foul, but Mason Mount today, I can't praise him enough. What a performance. That goal, all the pressure he's under, UEFA Champions League quarter-final, and he hits the bottom corner. It's a perfect finish. People who are saying that goals are lucky and the keeper could have saved it.
World-class finish, right? World-class finish.
That's maybe world-class. That's a word that not many people like to brand around, but I'd say that is a world-class finish. The way he takes on the half-turn round, I believe it was Mbemba, and absolutely smashed a bomb corner. Not many players can do that. You can see the form he's in. And like Nishal said, he's only 22 years of age. When this guy is the same age as Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, how is he going to be? He's going to be hopefully scoring many goals per season, getting assists, getting goals even in the UCL finals, UCL semi-finals, just like this. It's just, and on to Jorginho now. Jorginho, a lot of criticism after the West Brom game. People were saying in the live chat here, on many live chats, all over the world saying, he's finished. But ironically, after today, they're going to be saying, we want Jorginho to start this game. We want him to stay at Chelsea. So I feel like you need to be a bit rational when you judge players. You can't, after one game, after international break, you can't judge players and say you want them out. You have to be a bit, calm and watch more games consistently. Because Jorginho today, he controlled the tempo really well after that shaky start. That pass was inch perfect, broke the lines on Mason Mount's right foot so he could turn perfectly and shoot. Jorginho is a very calculated player who calculates each inch of the game. There was a chance where I believe it was Grujic who had a shot from outside the box. Jorginho kind of tried to block it. And if it would have been, a little bit lower, Jorginho would have blocked it. The way he calculates the game as an Italian, a very good reader of the game. I really think Jorginho should be appreciated for that. He played really well today. In the big games, he does seem to step up. I'm not taking the other game too seriously against West Brom, but when you see performances like this by Jorginho and Mason Mount, you just have to sit back and watch, because when they're on their game and they're playing well, these two players can be world-class on their day, and I love to see it. But yeah, two really, really professional world-class performances today from these two.
No, absolutely. Thompson Jones, once again, brilliant comment, my man. Thank you so much for providing this. Jorginho's pass was brilliant. Cruz's pass yesterday was unreal. Honestly, that pass from Cruz was sublime. I hope Jorginho can do these passes too. He has the ability to become the next Fabregas. Look, I don't know about next Fabregas because Fabregas was special. But look, if he does get to that level, wow, unbelievable. But, at least Jorginho does have those caliber of passes that we saw today, that defense-splitting pass. Fantastic. Ishan, from yourself as well, do we need to now really start looking at Mason Mount? As the boys said, he's only 22. This guy's nowhere near his peak yet. When we talk about peak, we're talking about 24, 25, 26, 27. Those are your peak sort of years. And then, you've got players like Bruno Fernandes and Kevin De Bruyne who are sort of gets at times touted and gets referenced when Mason Mount's getting talked about. But do we now, from your perspective, Ishan, really need to think about that? This guy's trajectory is in such an upward trend that perhaps he could get to that level. I mean, is that too crazy to think?
No, not at all. And simply because of how hard he works in training. By no means is he a generational talent. Like Nishal was saying, he's not the next Messi. He's not a generational midfielder, but he works harder than anyone else.
True.
And you can see that from last season when he first came in, and he was being played on the wing, people were kind of slating him for not being able to dribble. And now when you look at him, he's got all the flicks and tricks. Then people started talking about how he doesn't create enough, and now he's the highest chance creator at Chelsea. And then people started talking about his final third finishing. And even I think it was the Tottenham game where he had so many shots and all of them were just going everywhere. And after that, he came out and said, like, I didn't have my shooting boots on. I'm going to be working and training on it. And like 2 months later, now he scored more goals than anyone else in 2021 for Chelsea. And he's the kind of player that the criticism he receives from fans is, I'm sure, similar to what the coaching staff tell him in a nicer way, obviously. Like, hey, you need to improve in the final third. Like, he knows all those things, and he works every day in training to be improving on those things. And just another thing on his goal had an XG of 0.05. So that finish was insane. Like, especially the turn.
That basically means he shouldn't have scored from that angle.
Yeah, exactly. And Jorginho's pass into him, just his awareness. So he wasn't being marked at the time. Like, he wasn't like being marked tightly, but he knows the defender's coming. And so he just like kind of rides the challenge, and that allows him to do the turn. And I expected him to take another touch after that, but no, first time right in the bottom corner. And oof, I was just screaming after that. That was such a good finish. And Mason Mount's half turn is like one of the best I've seen in midfielders of his generation, at least. Like, his like spatial awareness when he does the half turn is so good. And those are things you can't really like quantify, like awareness of people around you. So yeah, he definitely has. He's not a generational talent, but he has the potential to be a generational player.
Absolutely agreed, Ishan, man. I mean, there's so many things that stats can't get the value of. It's what you said, you know, you can't quantify them, but they mean so much to this particular situation. Nishal, let's talk about the second goal before we get into the player performances. It was, I think, somewhat of a situation like this where Kovacic from deep, gets the ball and he looks up, he goes for an opportunistic sort of pass for Chilwell. There was a mistake here from the Porto defender, and then Chilwell just takes the ball, drives into this area. I think he goes around the keeper and then taps it in. I mean, what a performance from Ben Chilwell. We all wanted him to come back into the team, as well as Thomas Tuchel has got the best out of Alonso. But let's face it, defensively, Alonso lacks that sort of ability that Chilwell gives us. And in this match, Chilwell showed why he can be very good in attack as well, being, aware of situations. And that was such an opportunistic sort of moment for him to jump on. How did you feel when that goal went in, or when that sort of situation was transpiring and he was one-on-one with the keeper?
It was really a nothing chance. Came out of nothing. We shouldn't have had the right to be in on goal. But Ben Chilwell, on his toes, really bright, capitalised on that mistake. And as soon as he won the ball, there was only one place he was going. He had all the space, all the time in the world to drive forward, go into the box. And it really reminded me of a winger's finish, something we see from Christian Pulisic or Callum Hudson-Odoi. But seeing that from a wing-back, it was wonderful to see. Brilliant driving run, fantastic. And, the class and the coolness to round the keeper and tuck it home, absolutely fantastic. And I believe his first goal since October against Saturday's opponents, Crystal Palace. So really good to see him back in the goals and back in the games, because we know it's not been all plain sailing for Ben Chilwell. It's a position where he shouldn't have any competition. He's the outright best fullback and wingback. And of course, Marcos Alonso's come back out from the cold. Emerson, doesn't really challenge, but is still an option there. And Chilwell has it easy, especially when we're focusing on the Euro squad and whether Southgate is going to be picking him in what's a very competitive squad. We had another brilliant performance today, both for wing-backs, Reece James and Ben Chilwell, brilliant, but Chilwell did really well for the goal. And it's great to see that from him as well, because we've said, and I still don't believe that he's the strongest wing-back, but when he can do things like that, being bright, being alert, and being on hand to do that, drive forward and get a second goal, that's the perfect type of performance we can see. And, we've seen him today. He put in a great wing-back performance, really keeping tight on the wing, on the left flank, driving forward, defending as well, which is obviously the most important thing and something we see as a real flaw on Marcos Alonso as a wing-back. So, really encouraging performance from Chilwell today. Definitely someone we can consider as a wing-back, as a long-term option, and something that will also alert Southgate, because, of course, England playing a back three as well, decisions to be made there. And if Southgate's watching tonight, he will be really happy with what he's seen from Chilwell.
No, absolutely agreed, man. That was a morale-boosting performance from Chilwell. 140 people on right now. Please smash that like button and also follow all of my panelists. All of their socials are in the description. Go them, follow them on Twitter. Go them, follow their blogs and their podcasts, everything right now. And as I said, we do have Super Football shirts promotion on today. Please go into the description and have a look at the discount and the code to get 50% plus further 10% to. So go out there and buy all the jerseys that you want. This is it. This is the time. Taryn, my man, Chilwell's performance. I mean, surely now he has put a seed on Thomas Tuchel's mind that he probably needs to be recognised as the number one left wing back for the football club for the time being. Defensively, he's looking very solid in attack. You know, he's starting to pick up those pieces as well. Do you feel like now he needs to start getting that respect that maybe he needs to be coming back into the situation as the number one Chelsea left wing back?
Miz, I've always said about Chilwell, whether he doesn't have, the late runs into the box that Alonso has, he has the abilities to play that role. If you think about a generic left to right wing back, he has explosive pace. We saw it today in the first instance where he won that foul on the left. I was going to message you, Miz, and say that this is the main reason why we bought Chilwell. His explosive pace has not really been apparent this season. The thing that Rafa Guerra has that Chilwell doesn't, I feel like, is the late runs. But Chilwell today, that goal, he pounced on the mistake. He could have just held back, let Corona come onto him. But no, he was reading the mistake. He was really sharp onto the ball. And what a calm finish by Chilwell. Can I just say, he could have hit a bottom corner. It would probably been a save, but he ran at the keeper, just as Nishal said, like a Pulisic or a Hudson-Odoi. What a finish. But yeah, Chilwell, I've always said he has the attributes. He has the pace. He has the defending. He has the box-to-box abilities. And when he is in them positions, as you're showing there, Miz, he can score them. We've seen it at Leicester. And we've seen it when he first started at Chelsea, the goals against Crystal Palace and the goal against Sheffield United. We've seen it. Chilwell really does have these abilities. For me, now the thing about Chilwell is you could say, he's had one good game in this position. For me, consistency is going to be really key to kind of prove to Tuchel that he can start. If he's good against Crystal Palace, if he's good against Porto next week, if he's good against Man City, if he does start in that game, then Chilwell for sure is going to be proving why we spent the money on him. Ashley Cole, whether you could say that, a player dubs him, it doesn't mean much. Ashley Cole, one of our best ever left backs, said that Chilwell is going to be his potential replacement in the future. And I feel like we do need to take that seriously because he does have all the abilities I mentioned before. Chilwell, if he can perform more and more, then we're going to see this. If he can get more goals, more assists, he was really good defensively today. People take that out of account. He was defensive. Immaculate. Corona, I said in the group chat as well, Miz, that Corona.
I think Alonso would have struggled, man. Alonso
100%, yeah. Alonso. I feel like Porto were going to try and overload that our left-hand side. And Chilwell was really good against Corona, against Marega, against Diaz. Yeah. He was amazing today. And we need to see more of this box-to-box ability. He's great in both boxes on his day. And then Chilwell will be our player that we saw early in the season. And I'm really excited for him, Miz.
No, absolutely. Nishal, you had something to say, yeah?
Yeah, what you said about why we brought Chilwell for his explosive pace, I agree with that. And not just that, but we brought Chilwell as a left back with a system, a hole that's been wide open and gaping wide since Ashley Cole left in 2014. And we brought him to fill that void, and he's done really well there. But the fact that he's done so well as a wing back, he's not been perfect, and I have criticised him rightly so for that. But I will cut him slack in the fact that he's come into a new system, a new manager, a new philosophy, playing in a position that he doesn't traditionally play. He wasn't brought in to fill in, and he knows that's not his primary role. And to be also, to be forming like this in a role which isn't necessarily his natural role or isn't where he's prioritised to be at, he does deserve a lot of credit for that, especially when you consider Alonso is the superior wing-back, but we can play Chilwell there. Today was a perfect example of why Chilwell can actually long-term be a wing-back.
No, absolutely agreed, man. Honestly, he's starting to convince me that he can play as a wing-back. And as Taryn always believed, shout out to Taryn, that you always believed that he could do that. I had my sort of suspicion, just like Nishal, but I think, I'm happy to be proven wrong. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So I'm happy with that. Let's get into the player performances, guys. I'll start with you, Ishan, and obviously we'll keep the right at the end. Some Thomas Tuchel praise that we always do. It needs to happen right at the end. Ishan, I'll start with you. Let's go with Timo Werner. Let's really talk about this. Obviously, you had some choice words to say about Timo Werner. My perspective, Ishan, is that I think Thomas Tuchel uses Timo Werner for a few things. For his explosive pace, I feel like he thinks his pace has the ability to go past the defenders and create havoc. And I think he probably uses him for his work rate as well. He does work hard. But the thing about Timo Werner is, at the end of the day, he's brought in for the goals, right? Look, he doesn't play as an out-and-out striker, plays more of an inside sort of forward, but he's been brought in for the goals. I just feel like, we saw today when he's dribbling and he lost the ball, like he just left the ball behind whilst he was dribbling. And then there were moments where, there was a header. He wasn't getting pressured at all for that header where he needed to at least hit the target. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, you don't score a goal, but at least make the keeper do something. And that was a nice ball from Mason Mount once again. So I think it's these little things where, at the end of the day, we can't forget the fact that he's been brought in for goals. So I need him to be far more ruthless up front. So that's where the issue is. And maybe you're right. And a lot of people have been saying in live chat that maybe he doesn't deserve to start at the moment. But I do understand why Tuchel's using him. I feel like Pulisic, had he not have all these sort of injury concerns and this confusion around his health, I think he would get more game time. Obviously, Pulisic, we'll talk about him, but that opportunity that he had where he struck the bar, honestly, had that gone in, oh my days, that would have been pandemonium. But Ishan, from your perspective, do you feel keep persevering with Timo Werner, or it's time maybe, hopefully, Pulisic stays fit and that, that Tuchel looks into Pulisic as an alternative?
Yeah, before I start, I just wanted to... I have a Werner jersey, which means that when he signed for Chelsea, I was a big believer. Obviously, not that I'm not right now. But yeah, I was so excited for Timo Werner to come in. And you spoke about his pace and how it's electrifying. But not just that, he has like game-changing pace. A lot of people have pace, but he has game-changing pace where he wins penalties. He gets into such good positions. He's been missing the chances this season, but hopefully, fingers crossed, one day, one of them will go in, and then that'll start, I guess, the waterfall of goals. But yeah, at this point, as I was saying earlier, that, he's being played too much, and a lot of those times he hasn't deserved those minutes. So yeah, just to see a little bit more of Pulisic, a little bit more of Hudson-Odoi, see Timo Werner come off the bench maybe, might be a little bit better. For not only the team, but for his own confidence. Because at this point, he plays every game. He doesn't do too well in some games, and then that just brings on more pressure on him. That's another 90 minutes or 70 minutes today without a goal, without a real impact on the game. So I can't see how that would help his confidence. So just maybe alternating between games, play him one game, don't play him another game, kind of thing. Just ways to get his confidence back up and running.
No, absolutely. Well said, Ishan, honestly. Taryn, you're a massive advocate for Timo Werner, and I think it'll be perfect for coming from to see your perspective being a massive fan of Timo Werner. Is it time now, as Ishan said, someone like Hudson-Odoi, to get that opportunity back again, to see how he plays in that particular role, or Pulisic to get that extended run, or someone like even Ziyech, who's didn't even feature today. So what's your thoughts about Timo Werner, knowing everyone knows you're a big fan of Timo Werner, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, today another performance by Werner where I'm looking at him and saying, you're not doing enough to merit yourself starting the next game. And it's frustrating because obviously Ishan obviously believes him. He has a shirt of Werner and Miz. Yeah. If he would have scored and we got the winning goal, then I would have got a shirt from Werner.
You've got a shirt.
It's just like...
I might get a shirt today with a discount. I might get a shirt with my discount today for Timo Werner. 10%
discount. Everyone, see the football shirts in the description below. But no, with Timo Werner, 100% today, he's just not doing enough in the game. That header, he had so much time. I'm sure there was a call from Kai Havertz I saw as well. If Havertz was on that header, I'm pretty sure it would have gone in. It's frustrating because he does do a lot for the team. He, as Ishan said really well, he has that game-changing pace. He presses really well. He forces the keeper to, boot it along to alleviate a lot of the pressure. But with Timo Werner, we're known as the cold-blooded killer from Red Bull Leipzig, the guy who can score goals, who can get assists, who can cut in from the left and score that Aubameyang-esque finishes. But we're not seeing that at the minute from him. And when he's not doing that, as I said before, it's frustrating because Pulisic could drop deep, drive. Hudson-Odoi could drop deep, cut in a little bit better. Ziyech has that game-changing ability, obviously. So right now, I feel like Timo Werner does need a bit of time on the bench, and Hakim Ziyech does need to be brought in, or Hudson-Odoi. These guys have a bigger effect. And yeah, for my opinion, that's kind of what I say. But overall, not very happy with Werner at the minute, Miz. But yeah, what can you do about it? Just he's obviously in bad form, doesn't have much confidence. We didn't think he was this kind of player before. I didn't think personally. I thought him as just a guy Leipzig who was getting better every season, who was scoring 30-odd goals, 35 goals. I thought he was going to do really well in the Premier League because he is quite similar to Aubameyang in his game, who obviously settled in really well at Arsenal. But yeah, with Werner, just give him a bit of time on the bench because it's really awful seeing him play in such low confidence.
Absolutely, Nishal. This particular comment here from Thompson Jones. Once again, Thompson Jones, bang on comments coming up. Werner has 10 goals and 11 assists in all competition. Even though he hasn't been scoring, he has contributed a bit. That stat isn't that bad. Is that how you're looking at it, Nishal, that, yeah, he's done this? Or are you looking at it in the sense that glass half empty, that all of the opportunities that he's had, he should have been blowing the goals and assists sort of column left, right, and center? How are you looking at this scenario?
I wrote a piece about this last week because it's a really interesting and tricky dilemma to answer. What's wrong with Timo Werner? And it's really hard to kind of come up with a solid, complete answer because the stats are there. 21 goal contributions in 41 appearances. He's our third top goal scorer this season, maybe fourth after Mason's goal tonight. I'm not too sure. His numbers are good. He's providing. He's doing well on that front. But just watch him, stats aside, watch him on the pitch and in recent performances. He hasn't been good enough. And I think the issue with me is I don't know why he's still playing. And it's really harsh to say, but I'm an advocate of meritocracy. Look, we have great players, a really deep squad. And if you want to be playing for Chelsea, you need to be performing. Because if you're not performing, someone can easily come in and take your spot because there are good enough players on that bench, on the sidelines. And that should be the case for Timo Werner. So seeing him persist in that left wing role or centre forward role is really surprising. And, yes, it shows faith from Thomas Tuchel. It shows belief and continued perseverance to give him that chance and have self-belief in him. But on the other hand, it does make you wonder, well, why is Timo Werner still playing? Callum Hudson-Odoi has performed admirably every game he plays. He's always been our best player when he's on the pitch, almost every game. Hakim Ziyech as well. He's been performing really well recently. 2 goals in 2 games against Atletico and Sheffield United. There are options. We're not short of options. No one's injured. We don't have a lack of squad depth. We have players who can come in and fill that void. So seeing Timo Werner persist is really frustrating. I've seen suggestions of giving him a few games off, which I think is the wisest choice, especially as he didn't have the international break off, which I think would have been really good for him. But of course, that's Jogi Löw's choice. That's the German national team's choice to play him and select him. But he does need time off, and you have to be honest. And I think the main conclusion I came to in my piece, which if you haven't already seen it, nationalsport.com, was that he's a great player. His stats are there. He's been doing well. But he needs that self-belief and self-confidence. And it's hard to say that because I'm not seeing Timo Werner up close every day. No one knows what's going up inside his mind apart from Timo Werner. So it's a personal problem in believing in himself, backing himself, and really having that self-confidence and self-belief that he can score. And if he does that, we will see the Timo Werner that we've seen bagging it for Germany in recent years, flourishing at RB Leipzig, and proving why we signed him for £54 million.
Nah, for sure, Thompson Jones. We need to have you in the panel, Thompson Jones. Honestly, reach out to me if you're keen. True, on the pitch, he looks very lost. The stats don't match up with his performances. Exactly what Nishal said. Guys, if you want to see Nishal's article, it's in the blog at the moment, and the link is in the description. Go out there and check that out. I'll take Kai Havertz and we'll move on to the other players. For me, Kai Havertz, look, I don't want to be too critical with him. I felt like we were going too long in the first half generally, and in the second half we were a little bit more defensive, but it didn't play into his particular game. Similarly, we could say about Timo Werner as well. I wanted Kai Havertz to drop deep more. Yes, he did come deep every now and then, but want him to be more involved in midfield, playing as that false nine. I don't think he justified that position as a false nine today. So want him to go back to that style how he did against Everton. That false nine performance against Everton was brilliant. So don't want to be too critical with Kai Havertz. He hasn't had that many minutes as Timo Werner has had. So, but watch this space. Hopefully Kai Havertz can get back to that performance that he had against Everton, because for me, that was brilliant from him. So hopefully he continues on in the Crystal Palace match if he does start. So that's a little bit about Kai Havertz. So not too much to say, but I don't think he was that good. In regards to Mason Mount, guys, we've already covered that. So check out piece about Mason Mount, about the goal and a whole heap of things that we said. So go back and have a look at that. Let's talk about the midfield duo. I know, Nishal, you love talking about this. I want to talk to you about it, and then I'll go to Ishan about another player. Kovacic and Jorginho, the double pivot, the double sixes. The first 25 to 30 minutes, they did not look that great, but they slowly came into the game again. And we've said it in our preview that hopefully we don't get that disaster class again, that like we saw against West Brom, that, surely we can now have 2 games back-to-back like that. But, Nisha, are you worried that in the sense that next season, perhaps we do need something different? Obviously, Kante will come back in once he's nice and fit. He'll be back into the team. I hope that he plays in the second leg. It'll probably be Kante, Jorginho, or Kante, Kovacic. But next season, is Kovacic, Jorginho a combination that you'd want to see us pushing for the title?
We will not be able to push for the title with Jorginho and Kovacic, and that's just a statement. That's a fact. They're a good midfield. We've seen them perform really well, but they're not consistent or strong enough to be doing that to really push for a title charge. And today's game, we saw the 2 halves of Kovacic, as we've said. First half an hour, we saw them barely controlling the game, not involved at all, looking invisible in the heart of midfield, not getting involved, and allowing Porto to overrun us, control the midfield battle, and get chances. In the next 60 minutes, we saw them at their best, breaking up the play, passing it, starting moves, getting an assist in Jorginho's case, and really controlling the midfield like we can see them do. So we really saw the Jekyll and Hyde of Jorginho and Kovacic today. For half an hour, which we saw against West Brom, which we've seen against other teams, which we've seen in previous seasons, and the 60 minutes, which is what we've been so accustomed to under Thomas Tuchel. So, yes, they're a good midfield partner, and I've had my faith in them. I've praised them, rightly so. But long term, I wouldn't say they're the best combination. N'Golo Kante is going to be there, and we've had debates on whether we need to go for another defensive midfield, and I do think we do need to invest in one. Of course, we've got Billy Gilmore. I think maybe he's 2-3 years off really being a consistent first-team player. And even then, N'Golo Kante is going to be moving on within the next 5 years of the absolute maximum. So Billy Gilmore can be his successor, but then we'll still need another defensive midfielder. And actually, I saw bits of a team video that you guys did, which unfortunately I was not able to be involved with. And there are 2 players who I would like to look at. Eduardo Camavinga from Rennes. Love to see him, brilliant midfielder. Him and Conte, it would really be passing the baton on to the next French superstar midfielder at Chelsea and the French national team. I'd love to see that. And then to be a biased Swiss man for just 1 second, Dennis Zakaria would be wonderful to see at Chelsea. Not just because we're from the same country, but he is an outstanding midfielder. He will be in the Premier League. He will be at that level soon. And I can see him really forming a partnership with N'Golo Kante, like we've seen him form with Granit Xhaka with the national team, like we've seen him with Remo Freuler as well in the national team. He can come into Chelsea and really perform and really prove himself, because I've seen him develop over the last 5 years, and I strongly believe that he is a big move ahead of him. He's a young player, he's got a lot of talent ahead of him, and I'd love to see him come in at Chelsea. But either way, whether it's Zakaria, whether it's Camavinga, whether we go and get Reece again, we do need to invest in a defensive midfielder. And that's a fact and a truth that all Chelsea fans should be able to see.
No, 100% agreed, and you're right. We've said Dennis Zakaria is a good option. Taryn even mentioned the AC Milan player, Kessié, I believe. Frank Kessié. He's a good option as well. Yeah, Tchouaméni is also some really good options to check in that particular situation. Ishan, let's talk about Reece James. He was monster, as Nishal said earlier in the stream. He was absolutely a monster in defense going forward. Look, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as if he was creating chance after chances, but he was there to support the attack whenever needed. But defensively, he was just muscling everyone over. And this is what I want to see more of Reece James. His awareness was a lot better as well. I think against West Brom, look, the entire team, as Nishal said in that particular review, it was a collectively bad performance, and Reece James was part of that. But this game, he was on point every single time. What do you think about his performance?
Yeah, I think he needs to change his name to Beast James now, just because he's so strong. And he's 21 years old. Like, that is unfathomable to me. Like that he's like that strong. And he has good balance too. So like when he goes into like a shoulder barge with someone else, like he always comes out on top. And today we saw so many Porto players just crumble to the ground at the first touch of Reece James, I guess. But yeah, he was really superb tonight. And similar to Ben Chilwell, I think we also need to echo that Reece James is the right back. He's not an out-and-out right wing back. So like Ben Chilwell, he will take some time to kind of adapt to that new position, especially because he's playing way higher up, which is something newer to him. I'm not sure if he's played like in that position in the academy days, but certainly for Wigan, he never played as a wing back. For Chelsea, this is the first time he's playing as a wing back. He played once or twice under Lampard, but even then his starting position was much deeper than it is now. And I see a lot of people talking about how he's always passing back. And I think they need to keep this in mind, that his starting position is way higher than he's used to. So his first touch will always take him to kind of the backward pass, because he's not like a Hudson-Odoi. He doesn't have dynamic pace. He's very quick, but he can't like, he's more of, he'll go from wide to inward rather than keep going down the line in terms of dribbling. So yeah, I think defensively he was solid and very aware of helping Azpilicueta whenever he needed, and going forward he was good at progressing the ball too. I did want, like, he has a really good pass in him, so I did want to see some of the long balls being played from him rather than from our defenders, like put it out wide. And instead of like passing it around a little bit, just go long. We've seen him do that pass a few times. So that's just me being picky, because I'm a big Reece James fan. I think him and Mason Mount are my two favorite players at Chelsea. So yeah, no, it was a pleasure watching him play today, and it's always a pleasure watching him play, to be honest.
No, absolutely agree, man. Reece James, Beast James, that's a new name. And yeah, you're right. He does have that long ball ability, and he needs to trust that a little bit more. I do understand. A lot of people say, he keeps passing it back. But as you said, he plays so high up. If there's no option up front, he needs to come back. But that's something I'm pretty sure if Thomas Tuchel continues with this sort of wing-back situation, he will pick this up more and more as we go along. Taron, let's talk about the back three as a group, but a lot of focus on Antonio, the bust-up Rudiger. For me, another monster performance from Antonio Rudiger. I do not care about all of these bust-ups and whatnot. These bust-ups happen in football grounds. They happen in the training grounds. They happen in a football club. We're not, the only team for these things to happen. It happens in many other clubs as well. So this isn't like a new thing just for Chelsea. And it only shows that Rudiger is someone who's passionate, who cares. Obviously, he saw his teammates get battered 5-2 against West Brom, who's the 19th team in the table. You don't expect him to come into the training ground and be all jokey and whatnot. He's going to be upset if you're going to joke around with him. He's in a mind frame where he's upset because he's seen the Chelsea team do so well under Thomas Tuchel, then have that performance. So he comes back in, Taron, and he was a monster of a defender. Everything he was doing was prolific. His presence gives that back three a lot more, structure, a lot more presence. And I said it yesterday, I tweeted it out, that it's not about AC or Thiago Silva who starts between them. It's about Rudiger making sure that he starts at the back line. That's number one for us. And whoever starts between AC and Thiago Silva, that's up for grabs. I don't really care. But Rudiger needs to start as opposed to Zuma. So from your perspective, the three centre-backs, what do you think about their performance? For me, just quickly about Azpilicueta, I think he had a shaky sort of start, but later on grew into the match. As we always say, Azpilicueta never drops anything less than 7. He's always providing a 7 at least. So yeah, Taron, from your perspective, how do you think the back three went?
I'll start with Rudiger. What an absolute beast performance from this guy, proving all the fans wrong as usual, like he does. When he's not playing in the team, we see, a lack of aggression maybe in the back three. When he's there, he's getting into players' heads, he's whispering stuff in their ears, he's commanding the back line. We saw from the free kick when he was, telling the defenders where to be. And he's always 100%. He looks recently like he doesn't want to let anyone go past him. If you go past him, he's just going to body you, you're going to fall over, he's going to fall on the floor, win a free kick, and then go from there. That's how Rudiger is. The story from the training ground, I don't really want to discuss that too much, but the fact that, a training ground bust-up was reported in the media, but 10 games, like 14 games unbeaten, whatever it was not reported. It's just an absolute joke to me. But Rudiger,
the media, they really try their hard to make this guy look bad. I don't know why.
I don't want to talk too much about it. I think it's an absolute joke that, a bust-up was such a big part of the press conference as well. But yeah, Rudiger today, absolutely amazing. This guy is. Every performance we've seen him, Let's Go game. That was a game when I really saw in his eyes, he smells blood. He is not letting anyone go past him. And from then onwards, this Porto game, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, after the bust up, after what's happened, stuff like that. But he came in and he proved people wrong. Corona didn't have a chance. Marega, I felt like Marega was going to be a big challenge for the defenders. So they're really physical, strong. A player that's hard. Well, Rudiger was always there, shepherding him out of play. And then he went off to the end for the guy's son, Kovacic son. But yeah, Rudiger was amazing. Aspi, I feel like, was really underrated today. He had that block on the line from, I believe it was a shot from Corona. That, I believe, was going into the bottom corner. There was a chance when Diaz was kind of running through. Aspi trapped his run on the right and shepherded it out of play and won a goal kick. Aspi adds a bit of calmness to the defence. Him and Reece James' dynamic really works. Christensen really works. He's reading the play well. His leadership's important. Tuchel obviously says, having the captain on the pitch is so important for the team. You need your captain there to direct you, to always be there when you need to release the play, when something's going wrong in the game. He's always there to bail you out of everything. But Aspi, when he's not playing, I feel like we don't have the same kind of, composure on the ball. He's always there as an out ball. He's always progressing the play, driving out of the ball like Harry Maguire style. I really liked Aspi's performance. Christensen as well. I feel like Christensen didn't have his best game today. He wasn't as good as he has been in recent weeks, but he didn't make any major mistakes. Maybe his passes were a bit off to Reece James' switches. That did frustrate me at times, but defensively, he was perfect again today. Silva came on, another note mention, and added a bit of composure to the play. But overall, the back three, Rudiger, Christensen, and Aspi, I really, really like this back three. I think the dynamics really work. You have the aggression, you have the reading of the play, you have the leadership. This back three, I feel like Nishal said it earlier as well, that when Silva does move on, in the next few years, can Christensen be that player to step in? And this back three or back four, every play, these defenders work really well together. I'm just saying, they've played well for 10 games in a row, whatever it is. Can they do it more for the rest of the season? Because, I really like it, miss.
No, absolutely. Yeah, as you said, we've touched on this particular matter between Christensen and Silva. Please go back and have a look. As Nishal was saying, we really do need to think about this. And Kafka's view mentioned in the comment that there will be a lot of rotation. I think just quickly to sum up that whole AC and Thiago Silva situation, I think it's a good situation to have now. And I think we need to get to a point now and really respect the fact that Christensen has been, putting on some good performances. And maybe he does deserve to start every now and then when Thiago Silva needs to be rotated out. So 100% Christensen, Azpilicueta, and Rudiger, for the time being, that back three as a combination is working and that chemistry is working. And perhaps we don't need to tinker. I have been saying, and as Nishal has been saying, I'm pretty sure Ishan probably has been saying as well that, Silva is someone who's our number one defender and he comes back in. He doesn't need to win any sort of, position back. But I think now we really need to think about whether we want to tinker too much with the back three. Obviously, the rotation will be there. So that's a little bit about that. Nishal, let's talk to you about Mendy. For me, Mendy was very, very good, man. He made some really good saves. He ensured there was a shot from Diaz in the second half that he took a turn and he, snapshotted it. But Mendy saw that through and he had it covered. He had his hand sort of covered if it was on target. And overall, he was very commanding in corners, free kicks, everything he was coming and collecting. Nishal, I think we need to come to a situation now where we need to stop talking about Donnarumma completely and actually focus on Mendy being the number one Chelsea keeper moving forward. Is that how you feel?
Well, there's a reason he was brought in as our number one. There's a reason he was trusted to fix our goalkeeping situation. There's a reason that he's excelled so well. Another great performance from him today. Deserved clean sheet. He didn't have, to be called into action every single second of a game. But when he made some really good saves. That flying save from a header, the corner, lots of strong saves, covering the goal, really commanding as always in the box. Even the odd moment where he was happy to take on the attacker, which still completely freaks me out when he takes on, Edison vibes, being so confident. But, he does it well. He does it in a way that's commanding and, showing who's boss and who's dominating our final third. And another really strong performance from Mendy. He does his job. He makes the saves. He keeps that clean sheet. And there's not much you can complain about. And, of course, today's
on the ball as well, Nishal. On the ball, he's good as well now.
Yeah, I think that's something I've been critical of, seeing as communication and how he can be on the ball occasionally, a loose pass or not really playing the right pass and putting us into danger. But he did well with that today, and he, used his options and assessed all three of his defenders. And he's getting better at it. We're seeing more and more improvements from Mendy because he didn't come in as a finished product. And he's at the level where, Kepa Arrizabalaga could still compete for our number one spot when he came in. But of course, Mendy has come in to the extent that, he's really seized and made that number one shirt his own and shown why he can be that goalkeeper. So, of course, tonight, the Gianluigi Donnarumma rumours will be on the back burner. No one's going to be talking about that. It's still an option. It's still something we need to consider when we come to the summer, when we come to the end of the season. But for now, we're in a fantastic position. We've got a great informed goalkeeper, and Edouard Mendy deserves praise because he's keeping clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet and really showing us what we've been missing the last few years.
100% right, man. Yet another clean sheet. Charles Williams, what a comment. Shades of 2012 coming back, beating Portuguese opposition and Spanish in semi-finals. Chilwell doing Fernando Torres running the keeper. Honestly, a lot of things mixing up here. Let's now talk about Thomas Tuchel to wrap things up here. Ishan, I'll go to you first up. The praise needs to be continued for Thomas Tuchel. Off the back of that 5-2 drubbing against West Brom, you wondered how this team was going to come back against a top opposition like FC Porto. Thomas Tuchel, he said all the right words post-West Brom match. He said it was uncharacteristic the way we capitulated. He did not expect the team to go down like that, being 1-0 up against West Brom, and obviously with the man down, he expected the team to basically assess the situation and understand what was required. And he was absolutely baffled what happened after that. So he said that. He also said that he's learned quite a few things. He needs to address a few things that when this situation happens, we need to address it properly. He also said, it was very uncharacteristic. There was individual mistakes that led to, the situation of Silva being red carded. So he recognized every little thing moving onto this particular match. And then he puts this particular performance. His substitutions, I felt, was very timely and good as well. The way he brought in Thiago Silva and Kante to shut up shop, pretty much saying to Porto, you're not scoring. We are locking up this score. We are taking this victory, and we will see you in second leg. And obviously, we ended up getting that second goal, which was a cherry on top. I mean, what do you have to say about Thomas Tuchel, man?
Yeah, I think after the West Brom game, there was so many people who were suddenly critical of him. And that I found that very, very weird because it's hard to judge a team's performance when they've gone a man down, That's like the worst time to judge a manager or a team because if we're 1-0 up with 11 men, we win that game, and no one's ever questioning Tuchel. We're on a 16-game unbeaten run. And the whole conversation about Tuchel and that whole West Brom performance never even comes up. Another thing I want to say about him is just the way he speaks. Not only see the passion that he kind of coaches with, but also he just says the right things every single time. Whether he's talking about Werner, whether he's talking about Havertz, or even Mason Mount, he's been praising him a lot as well. And it just every time, every press conference, like the press conferences are for me sometimes 6 a.m., 5 a.m., and I'm awake just to listen to him talk because I just like hearing him talk. That's a fan. But yeah, tactically he's got a spot on as well. I think the changes he makes, against West Brom, we can question if they were the right changes or not. But again, it was 10 men. Very rarely has he made the mistake of bringing on the wrong person. But even when he does, you can still put the blame onto he's still finding out so many things about his team. Like he's only been here now 16 or 17 games. So it's all very new to him, and he's taken up the challenge very, very well. And yeah, it looks like he has something to prove. I hope he can go as far as the final, and hopefully this time he wins it.
Nah, absolutely. Taryn, Thomas Tuchel, he said, let's not forget the good work that we did for the first 14 matches until we had that loss. Let's not forget all of those good progress that we made and forget everything because of that loss. And surely enough, the whole foundation came back again. So from your perspective, man, I mean, what do you got to say about Thomas Tuchel right now in this situation?
Yeah, Sean, kind of going off what you said, I feel like the thing about Tuchel that I really like is he's quite honest in his press conferences. He doesn't really lie to his fans, to the fans of Chelsea. The bust that happened at the training ground, he was honest about it. He could have said that didn't happen, but he said, it wasn't a big deal. We moved, we're a team. And the way he is, I really like the way he speaks, the way he manages the team. I've always said that, you know, if we go and lose the games to West Brom, lose the smaller games, then the big games don't really matter, all 3 points. But, you know, he's only been in a job for 2 months, probably going into UCL semi-final now, going into FA Cup semi-final, you know, 4th and 5th in the Premier League, probably going to be 4th by the weekend. But Tuchel deserves all this praise. He's still getting to know his players. He's still getting to know his best system, who's his best personnel, his best 11. And he's already done quite a lot for the team. I'm so excited for what can happen in the future, what can happen for the rest of the season, when he has a whole pre-season to work with these players to see where he'd like them tactically, where he'd like to set up. And then for the normals, we can push on and say Tuchel could be a very, very good manager for our club. I still think it's early days right now, even though he's done quite a lot. We will see the real Tuchel next season, where he'll be tactically, where he'll be in press conferences. But congrats, Miz, on 3,900 subs. Congratulations, other side of the coin, great channel. Love to be on there.
Thank you, bro.
That's all right, man. That's all right. Tuchel, all the praise has to go to him. A lot of criticism after West Brom. I felt like that was probably a really, really poor tactical display from him. But we've seen the exact same form under Tuchel in this game. We've seen a strong defensive stability, counter-attacking football, really good possession in the midfield. Maybe going forward is a little bit slack still. But yeah, let's just build on from him, because right now it's looking really good.
No, 100%. Nishal, I'll let you finish things up with some Thomas Tuchel praise. It's always deserved, especially when we get yet another clean sheet. Now, 16 games. We've got a comment here from Zeke. I need to bring it up. 16 games, 1 loss. Clean sheets after clean sheets against top quality opposition. As we've said, let's forget that West Brom loss. It must have been an anomaly, a blip, and remove. We've got Crystal Palace coming up. Hopefully we get back into the Premier League side of things, because we do need to get that top 4 situation with West Ham. I can't believe West Ham's still in the mix. I really thought they're going to drop off. But Nishal, my man, some final thoughts about Thomas Tuchel?
Another deserved victory for Thomas Tuchel, and one we've really needed. And the credit to him doesn't go for getting the win, but showing that character to bounce back and overcome that West Brom defeat, because it was never going to be easy to come back from conceding 5 goals after having conceded the same amount of goals in the last 16 games. But credit to the players, we got back up. We needed time to settle into the game, admittedly, but they showed their performance. They scored 2 great goals, and we really put in a superb performance tonight, and especially from what we've seen after Saturday. We needed an improvement, but we're back where we belong. That's now just 1 defeat in 16 games for Tuchel. That says it all. We're halfway there to a Champions League semi-final. Of course, the second leg, 6 days, we're not there yet. We still have another 90 minutes to go before people start thinking about how we're going to play Real Madrid in the semi-finals. We are nowhere near there yet. We've got a big 90 minutes ahead in Sevilla next Tuesday. We've got Crystal Palace first. We need to go 1 game at a time and focus on what we're doing. But Tuchel, the praise will keep going. It'll be the same praise for his management, for the way he speaks, for his repertoire, for the way he manages the team. It's still perfect for Chelsea. We're still in a fantastic position to be competing across 3 fronts. And, I'm really pleased with Tuchel. Very happy to see him doing well. And it's been a pleasure to see this. And I hope we keep building on it and we keep getting results. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you can follow me on Twitter @Nishal_SP. You can find all of my work, articles, videos, and podcasts on nishalsblog.com. And you can also follow Chelsea FC blogs for Isham. We have Perfect Hat-Trick podcast for Taryn, and the other side of the coin for Miz. But thank you very much for listening.
Awesome. Well said, Nishal. Just before we wrap things up, just a quick sort of look around. The Chelsea admin is absolutely buzzing. As you can see, we've got the victory. I think this is what is this? Cesar Azpilicueta heat map. Wow. Okay. Fantastic. A message from Chilwell. He looks very happy. Mason Mount pictures all around. And the man of the match, Mason Mount, he's absolutely killed it. Edouard Mendy is there as well as one of the shouts. Guys, thank you heaps for joining. 250 at one point, 214 right now live. Thank you heaps. Please smash that like button. Get me to at least 100 plus likes. It's about 75 at the moment, guys. Please take the opportunity to smash the like button, get it to at least 100 likes. Helps the channel out, helps the video out a lot as well. So thank you heaps for your support. And the panelists, go out there and follow each and every one of them. It's in the description right now. All of their socials are there. Go out there and follow them. And last but not least, Super Football Shirts promo on right now for the next 24 hours, 50% off, 10% with my code. Go out there, buy yourself jerseys, whoever you want, Mason Mount, Edouard Mendy, Timo Werner, all the stuff that we said. Maybe get yourself a Timo Werner, support him. And all the other players out there, get yourself that jersey. See the promo. It's in the description. It's in the banner. So, yeah, you'll get that. Guys, until next time, everyone, thank you heaps and enjoy the day. See ya.